Test. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. You guys saw the title. I hope you guys read the description at the bottom. So, as you guys could see, the situation in Ukraine, it's really terrible. It's really bad, especially for the people of Ukraine. I can't even imagine if I were there, with wife, children. I mean, and you being under attack, and your home was there, and then now it's rubble. I can't even imagine. So today, you guys saw the title, "Where are the feminists?" Right? So now, before anyone comes after me, right? So now I would like to. I'm online right now, right? I'm looking up the definition of feminism, right? It says the advocacy of women's right on the basis of equality in sexes, right? If we're equal, right, as you guys saw in the description, it says that the Ukraine right now is under martial law, right? And it bans men from age of 18 to 60 that they can't leave the country, so they have to fight, right? With That's fine. I don't have a problem with that, right? And most men wouldn't have a problem with that. But I don't see the feminists saying, "Oh my God, this is so sexist. How come they're not letting us fight?" Right? Why not? It's about power for them. They just want power. They look at all the cushy jobs, all the cushy small, and those things. It's a small um, minority of men who gets to live those privileges. Most people live regular lives, right? Most men are not CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, right? I mean, come on. So I don't hear them talk. I don't hear a peep from them, right? Nothing. They don't say, "Oh, they want to go and fight." Now I'm not saying that there's no Ukrainian woman that's there in Ukraine fighting for their country. Obviously not. But they're not being banned from leaving the country. They could leave the country free willy. And as a matter of fact, they said women and children first. They even said women before children. So yeah, I'm all for that, but it cuts both ways. You don't want all the benefits and none of the downsides, right? It just doesn't work like that. So I don't know if anyone saw our, great vice president in Germany before. I think it was last week before the whole thing started. She was in the Munich Security Council, and it's a conference. Well, conference, Munich Security Conference. It's something that happens every year, and that's where people from Europe, they come in and they talk about the global challenges, global security challenges that faces the world. And you know what? When Kamala, when she went when she went there, you know what she was saying? She was like, "Guys, I mean, we're talking about a war that could happen in Europe. Think about that." And it's like, what? Wow, yeah, that was so insightful. Thank you, Kamala. We didn't notice. She's woefully unprepared. She's not fit for that job. But no, she's a woman, right? And I'm not saying no woman can't be a vice president. Of course not. But you have that. But you have to have merit. You got to be qualified. I mean, I mean, I got a buddy of mine. He might be watching. He's from California. Those are your people, right? That's your former senator. So all I'm saying is, and most men doesn't have a problem with that. Men, we're not saying, "Oh, how come the women are not fighting? How come we're the only one fighting?" We don't say that, right? We're not complaining about it. All I'm saying here, I'm not complaining about it here either. All I'm saying is I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy, right? of the situation. So we just got to get real when it comes to that. These feminist movement, it's about power. It's not about equality. I just read you the equality of feminism. I don't see any women fighting in Ukraine in masses. I don't see it being divided by 50-50. Right? I don't see them saying, no, there's too much men fighting in Ukraine right now. There's too much men dying. How come? Because they don't care. Right? They don't. I'm saying they don't care about the movement. They don't care about that side of it. I'm not saying they don't care about people dying in general, but I'm saying they don't care that the fact that it's overwhelmingly majority men. If you're a true feminist from the truest sense of the word, that's what you should be saying. You should wanna fight. And that's another thing for me, is that too many people, especially those extremists on the left, too many of them, they look at the situation and they think that, oh, the rest of the world is supposed to think the way we think. No, that's never going to happen. You know why that is? It's because geography, history, culture. And it's almost the opposite of what you're trying to say. It's almost like you're saying, oh, they're supposed to think of the way we think. They're supposed to think that, oh, pronouns are a huge thing. You think right now in Russia, the Russian military right now is worrying about pronouns? You think they're talking about they, zer, whatever? No, it's not happening. You know why? Because those things doesn't really matter. You know what matters in life? Families. The ability for you to feed your family and to keep your family safe. And right now in America, if you live in America, you live in the safest country in the world right now. But what does most of these people on the left, what do? They bashed it. Right? And I'm not saying America is perfect. America is far from perfect. We have our issues. There is racism. There is sexism. But when you're focusing on those minute little things, talking about pronouns, that's how you know you've solved almost every issue. You know, I forgot, how does the saying goes? Tough men makes good times. Good times make weak men. Weak men make tough times. And I think right now that's where we're at. Right? It's just too good for us. If you live in a Western country, especially America, you're living in the safest and best country right now in the world. There's a reason why Russia is invading Ukraine, not the other way around, or Russia invading America. There's a reason for that. And if you ask me, right, look, I have a question for you guys, for everyone that's watching. There's only three options. You could have America, China, or Russia be the global leader, setting the rules. Right? Who would you pick? And those are the only three options. There's no equality. All three of them cannot be equally powerful. I know who I would choose. Who would you choose? So I think this is one of those situations that I hope that there's a silver lining in this situation right now. shows us where we should put our priorities, not in this pronoun and gender BS thing where someone can't even define what's a woman. All right. And then right now in the current climate that's going on right now in Ukraine, you know, the C word, I don't want to get banned for, I don't want this video to not get picked up, but the C word, the right now, right? I don't see people saying, "Oh, the Ukrainians, the refugees right now, they're not wearing masks," right? If they are, and if you are saying that, you need, come on, really, you need to get your head checked. We have bigger problems. So I'll drop off. I'll drop a link if anyone want to come up. You can. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Maybe. So if you agree or disagree, I'll drop the link, and let's see if I know how to do this. Copy. Okay. Yeah. I'll drop the link. Someone want to come in that disagrees with me, let's have at it. Perfect example, right? Russia. And what do I mean by culture and history? If this is probably going to sound bad, but if I'm Putin, I get it. I get why. I was a history major, right? I get it. I get why he feels the way he feels. Obviously, I don't condone it, right? How could you? But I get it. He feels insecure. He doesn't feel safe. He doesn't feel safe being surrounded by NATO. And that's another thing, right? So with NATO, right? And when people say NATO, the only country that really matters is the US, right? That's why when who the last guy when the last guy was in office, and then he was talking about how NATO is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, how a lot of them were scared shitless. So when it comes to NATO, the country that you need to think about is America, right? That's the country that's mainly important. There's 30 of them, of course, but it's the US that's leading it. And then the number that you need to think about is, if you're talking about numbers, it's the 2%, which is the amount of money that you're supposed to be spending on your GDP. 2% of your GDP should go towards defense, right? Should go towards your military, to have a well-equipped military. And then Article 5, right? That's the big one. So Article 5 is just saying that an attack on one is an attack on all of them. So America is supposed to come in and save them, right? But that's exactly what the last guy was trying to get them to do, right? They didn't want to listen. Right. So NATO was expanding towards Russia, right? And the reason that Putin doesn't feel safe is because in the 20th century, they were attacked from the West, their West, twice, right? The Germans, both World War I and World War II. So what Putin is trying to create is buffer zone, right? So perfect example, right? Doing I think it was when did Napoleon invaded Russia? So when Napoleon invaded Russia, what they did was that they couldn't stand up to Napoleon at that time. So what they did was they keep going east, dragging the Napoleon army further into Russia. Right? They wouldn't stand and fight. And then as they were going east, luring Napoleon in, they will burn down all the cities around them, all the cities that they passed through, so that Napoleon and his army couldn't live off the land. So the supply line for Napoleon army to feed it, I mean, he had a famous quote saying that an army marches on its belly. Right? So if you can't feed your man, the supply line, I mean, if you can't do it, I mean, your opponent doesn't even have to fight you. You're just gonna starve to death. So Napoleon made it to Moscow. You know what the Russians did? They burned down Moscow and keep going east. They wouldn't stand and fight him. And finally, Napoleon, even though he took Russia, but it was burning. I mean, Moscow, it was burning, and then he had to go back. And that was the start of his downfall. Right? So the Russians always wanted a buffer zone to protect them because there's no natural barrier to stop them from Western Europe, from any country in Western Europe to invade them. So they wanted that buffer zone. So as NATO keep expanding, going east, he feels insecure. And then now Ukraine, which is in his eyes, I'm not saying that's right? In his eyes, he views it as little Russia. He says it himself. He says Ukraine, the Ukrainians and the Russians are one people. All right. So if you view it that way, and then now Ukraine want to join NATO. So which means that US weapons, US troops is going to be in Ukraine. Right on its, as he said it, NATO trying to put missiles on his porch, right on his doorstep. So he feels insecure about that. Now, again, I'm not saying that's right? Because what he should look at is saying that, okay, if Ukraine and Russia are the same people, why do they want to join the West? Why don't they want to be closer to us? So that's how he feels that's why he feels the way he feels. And he views the collapse of the Soviet Union as the greatest. What was the exact quote? He said the collapse of the Soviet Union is the greatest geopolitical disaster in the 20th century. Right? That's how he views it. Obviously, he wrong, right? But that's how he views it. The fact that he says a lot of Russians that was living in one country, the next day they were living in a different country because the Soviet Union broke up into 16 16 countries, and Russia is one of them. And obviously, the main country was Russia. So, a lot of these left feminists or left-wing people, they view it. They think that everybody should have their point of view, should see the world the way they see it. No, that's never going to happen. Russia lost 27 million men during World War II, right? So we didn't have that experience. American didn't have that experience. So to them, it's very insecure. And where did the Germans come from? The western part. what they came from Western Europe, right? And where's NATO coming from? Western Europe. So that's why he sees it. He views things the way he views it. And men on both sides are the one fighting those wars. I don't see any feminists getting in line saying, ooh, put me in, coach. Right? They're not saying, they're not raising their hands, they're not volunteering. So, man, all we're saying is for all those sacrifices that we do, give us a little bit more respect. You know, give us a little bit of respect. All these women that goes on Kevin Samuel's show, right? Perfect example. All these women that goes onto Kevin Samuel's show, what do they say? They want a man that makes six figure, right? Yeah, I wonder right now, someone, if you was in Ukraine right now, if you would be worrying about that. And for those of them who has their cats, right, or their dogs, they're saying that they're happy, they're gonna die. They just have their pets. Your pets can't help you. Your pets are not gonna help you right now. Your pets, hey, your dog can't pick up a gun. Your cat can't pick up a gun, right? If you're in Ukraine, and you're a single woman right now, you shit out of luck, right? So since your dog and your cats can't help you, only men can help you. So you should be satisfied that you could get a man, right? And that's another thing. That's another thing that I wanted to touch on. What makes a country a great country? Right? Rich. I mean, Singapore is rich. Israel is rich. They're not a major power. It's population and your economy, right? The opposite, you could say. I mean, what's the Ethiopia? Is the yeah, Ethiopia. It has a huge population, right? It's not a rich country, so you need both. And America, Japan, China, to a certain extent, they have both. So if you don't have babies, right? If you don't have babies, we're not. I think for the first time, um, the U.S. birth rate is going down, right? Because we're not having babies, and when we do, we have it out of what wedlock, especially in the black community. So I think we should focus on what's important. I hope that's the lesson that we could take out of this, is we focus on the things that's important, not on, oh, does the man make six figures? Yeah, obviously, if he could make six figures, yes, that would be great. But I don't think um that should be the qualification. I think it should be, do you guys share the same values? What are those values? Not the fact that, oh, he doesn't like Game of Thrones and you do, and then up, no, that's a no. And listen, us men will put up with a lot. right? We'll put up with a lot for our families, for our countries. I think the military is a good representation of that. You know, I mean, I have family members that's in the military. You know, and you should be proud of that, and they should get respect. Not, oh, do you drive a Prius? Do you own a Tesla? Right? Not about, oh, which pronoun are you using? Not, oh my God, you misgendered me. Not this fake outrage on online, on Twitter. Not those things. So I hope that's a silver lining that we get out of this situation, as terrible as it is, right? As bad as it is for the Ukrainian people. So I think I don't see anyone trying to come up, but yeah, if anyone doesn't have any questions or rebuttals, I'll be, let me see. I've been on here, yeah, almost 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'll stay on for a little bit, and then so we can see um if there's any disagreement. But yeah, if for the first time, if you're finding this channel for the first time, um you know, you see the the name of the channel, the Table X. You know, I name it that is to so that, you know, because I mean, I don't know if you guys can see, I am married and I am pro marriage, but because those are the things that's important. You know, it's about families. You know, all the rest of the stuff, yeah, that's cool also. But I don't think um a Ukrainian right now is thinking about, you know, which Gucci shoes that do they have, right? What kind of car are they driving? I don't think Ukrainians are thinking about that because those things doesn't matter. I don't think they're thinking about, oh, should I wear a mask? You know, so so yeah, so yeah, the goals for this channel um is so that we could, I want to create a community where men could talk about men's issue, and yeah, so we could talk about men's issue, and the primary purpose or goal of it is to learn how to vet women for marriage, you know, that fits for marriage. So yeah, I hope we could get through this, and God bless the people in of Ukraine, and keep them in your prayers if you can. Thank you.